Have you ever looked at your screen time and been genuinely concerned for your health? Yep, well, that was me this week.
Look, it's fairly unhinged.
Well, they say that the best way to kick a habit is to replace it, so I've decided to spend the next week replacing my screen time for some reading. Hopefully, by the end of the week, I'll be feeling a little less anxious, I've ticked a few more books off my TBR, and I've kicked this screen time habit.
Okay. Essentially, the goal of this video is that I want to replace my screen time with some book time. The way I'm going to do it is I have to replace my phone time with a bare minimum the same amount of time that I spent on my phone the previous week. So for example, this time last week, I spent 3 hours and 40 minutes on my phone, which is horrific. 38 of that was Instagram, and 50 minutes was researching on Chrome. Apparently I like to know things, and Goodreads was 20 minutes, so I don't think I'm mad about that, but I'm gonna try and not do that today. Yeah, that's why we're doing this challenge, because I definitely need a little reset. I'm gonna make this challenge really easy to begin with, and I don't think I'm gonna really miss my phone today or tomorrow, because we have the very long awaited Onyx Storm. It just arrived yesterday, and so I've already started. I think I'm 20% in. I obviously loving it so far, so we're gonna just carry on with that bad boy. I have a physical copy, but Jake has called dibs on this, so I will be reading on my Kindle. Essentially, I'm gonna have a timer running. Every time I'm not reading, I'm gonna pause this, and it's only gonna be running when I'm reading. Let's do it. Already terrifyingly illuminating. I have just paused and we're at 2 hours to go. So I've been reading for about an hour and 40 minutes. I'm at 32%. So yeah, it's already very wild how much reading I can be doing when I'm on my phone. This is just a really good reminder and reset of, oh hey, I don't really want to be on my phone. I'd rather be reading. So anyway, if for whatever reason you haven't heard of this book or don't really know what it's about, I'm not going to do spoilers. Basically, this book is the third in the Fourth Wing it's not a trilogy. In the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros. We're at War College, where there's dragons, there's magic. It's a good time. And the romance is on point. We love Xaden. In the first book, we meet Violet Sorrengail. She was destined to be a scribe, but she ends up going through the Rider's Quadrant. There's different quadrants you can train, but she ends up in the Rider's Quadrant because of her mother, who is the general of the Riders. And so now we've lived through, not that, just that book, but we've gone through Iron Flame, and now we're at Onyx Storm. And I really can't say too much because I don't want to give anything away. If anything, I'll just give my feels, which currently I've been told a lot. There's a lot of information that I have. I'm concerned. I'm a little bit unsure how we're going to proceed. I was a little bit silly and didn't reread the two other books. So I've gone a full year since I read the two previous books, and there's a few details and like characters coming back. I'm like, who are you? Where'd you come from? So there's that. And I have another two. It feels so luxurious, like, to be able to say that I'm going to read for another 2 hours today. And the fact that I had found enough time to sit on my phone last week for 3 and almost 4 hours, truly baffling to me. Like, I don't even know how I did that. It's just like the little pickups, you know? Oh, even then, counts as a pickup. Jesus. Okay, let's go back to reading. Okay, so we've got about half an hour left of the timer. It's been going well. Feel great. I checked my screen time, and I still have been on my phone for an hour today, but that is a marked improvement from 4 hours, so I'm gonna take it. Obviously, I am still using my phone to time things, so that's factored in, but there's definitely some other things I did on there. But moral of the story, I still have sat down and read a lot today. The book is going well. I can't say anything because Jake is sitting here reading it as well. And there will be consequences if I reveal anything. I'm really liking how this is evolving, and kind of funnily enough, it's reminding me of Spark of the Everflame series, which for anyone who knows my reading habits, that is one of my favorites. I adore that series. And it is giving those vibes. And can we just talk about how Riddick is one of the most underrated characters? He should have more screen time. He is so good. I adore him. I'm gonna go back to reading and get this other half an hour tackled. Let's see if we can keep doing this for the rest of the week. Okay, so I got through about 2 hours this morning, but I must say, yesterday I didn't really notice the whole phone swapping thing. Today I am feeling it. I'm definitely noticing myself reaching for it. So I left it far away from myself when I was doing work earlier today, and that did help. I'm about 50% of the way through. There's so much happening, but I can't tell you any of it because I don't want to spoil anything. But this is probably the most adventurous of the books. And I'm loving it. I'm gonna get back to it, get another 2 hours under the belt. Yeah, so look, I guess you don't call it a challenge without it being a challenge. And indeed, I have been a little bit shocked by how hard I have been finding this. So last night I ended up finishing, I think I had like an hour and a half or something like that on my stopwatch left. And because I want to stick to the actual time that I've been on my phone, I want to swap it. Today I woke up and I did a little bit more reading, and I've still got 45 minutes left, but that is of yesterday's reading time. And so that does not even account for today's reading time. This time last week was a little bit smaller, 2 hours and 34 minutes. So we're gonna do the 45 minutes, and then we're gonna also do 2.5 hours, which is fine because I actually am getting scarily close to the end of Onyx Storm. I have questioned when an author comes in with a POV, you have that POV the entire way through, and just at the end, alternating different characters like every chapter. I don't mind one chapter. I think it is just honestly very disorientating. I'll just jump into the next chapter and be like, yeah, cool. And then I'm halfway through and I read a detail that I'm like, that would be really odd for Violet to be saying that. Yeah, so forewarning, that is there and it's a little weird. And if you've read this, please let me know your thoughts because I really don't know how to feel about it. I feel like it's a time and a place, but like the other one I can think of is A Court of Thorn and Roses. I actually haven't even read the last one because it started changing from like one single POV for 3 books, and then the 4th book was like, we're starting to introduce different POVs. So I obviously have a bias against this. If you vibe it, I would love to know like what your thoughts are. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to reading and hopefully I'm gonna get through this one and then we'll start another book. Also, thank you for being so understanding that I have essentially lived on this couch for this entire challenge. I'm gonna get around to doing my office at some point and hopefully there'll be a nice cozy reading nook up there too. But for right now, this is it. this chapter and I have no idea who it is. I've forgotten. It took 2 seconds away and I'm unsure. Who? Ah, okay. Look, I'm not gonna lie, it's very interesting hearing from different people's perspectives. What is unique to this book is the relationship between the rider and the dragon. And so hearing different people is kind of cool. My timer went off about 5 minutes before I finished this. So we started the new timer. We're 5 minutes in and I don't know how to feel right now. I have many emotions. To be honest, I'm very happy that I'm doing this and that I need to immediately pick up another book because I don't think I have the emotional capacity to deconstruct what just happened. So if you haven't started this series, proceed with caution. If you have, my heart goes out to you because, yeah, I can't even. We're not going to process this right now. We're going to debrief on that later. But right now we're going to make a tea and I'm going to choose another book and then we're going to get into it. So I'm having a bit of a hard time deciding what to read next. I am a little still in shock. But anyway, on my TBR for this month, I have Januaries, which is a collection of short stories that I've kind of been working my way through. I also have a few books that I have read before. I wanted to reread a few of my old favorites, books that I haven't read in like 10 plus years that were just my gold standard at the time, and I'm just really curious to see if my taste has changed. Or I have just like a romance. It's really hard. I don't know. I'm gonna go get some stuff to finish off this tea and then we're just gonna have to blind pick something. Hope for the best. Okay, so whoever said that you can't have everything in life, they were not a reader. Case in point, I couldn't decide, so I brought them all. I figured that the point is to be reading. It doesn't really matter what I read. And I must say, I chronically have an issue starting books. Once I'm into them, there is no stopping me. But getting into a book, opening a book, I typically will start 5 or 6 books just so I can like taste test them all and know what they're about and decide if I'm going to read them. And then they will sit in my pile where then I will await the day where I'm going to read them. But because we're so early in the year, I haven't really done that yet. So I have a lot of books that I want to read and I know very little about most of them. Anyway, we have our 5-star reads. So we could go that direction, or we could go romance. I have heard great things about this author. I have like 3 of her books, so. And then we have Januaries, which is cutesy little short stories. And it's so beautiful. This is the special edition, the Waterstones edition, I do believe. So pretty. I am just I'm gonna sample. We'll see what we think. Okay, so I've just got 20 minutes left to go. It is late, so I'm gonna go crawl into bed. the book's going really well. So this is, I don't know if I have the headspace to explain what it is. Essentially, we're following a friend group. I'm about 60 pages in, already kind of loving the writing style. I can definitely see why people recommend Mhairi Macfarlane if you like Emily Henry. I am tired, so I'm not going to explain the plot. I will get to that in the morning. But overall, it's a vibe. I'm going to go finish this off, call it a night, and keep going tomorrow. Good morning. So yesterday I carried on the challenge and I did another 2 hours and 45 minutes. Tick. We did that bad boy. And I continued reading. Between us, it's going really well. I'm like halfway through now. In this book, we're following a group of friends. They're all in their 30s. They're meeting up for a weekend to celebrate 3 major events. Birthday, one of their friends is a screenwriter and his show is airing. And the third is like a 10-year celebration of their friendship. So we're going through a lot of different things. We're kind of grappling with the fact that they're coming apart a little bit as a group. There's some relationship issues showing up. I'm about halfway through and we haven't really seen much of a romance plot yet. We've just essentially we've been spreading the seeds. No, that's a very poor way to word that. We have been planting, there we go. We've been planting some seeds of the romantic plot to come. I have a big reading goal ahead of me today. So last week on this day, that was a 5 hours and 30 minutes. I actually don't even know if I'm gonna get through that. And you know what? 2 hours of that was me watching a video while working, because I do that sometimes if I have like low-key admin, like if I need to research or if I am planning an outline or something like that, I'll just have something in the background. But another 2 hours on social media. So I have no excuses. And I will say today I'm having a bit of a mental health day. So I'm definitely not feeling the best. And I know that when I'm not feeling good, I reach for my phone for the dopamine hit and I always end up feeling worse. So I think it's gonna be really good to get into some reading. Hopefully that will prevent me or minimize me wanting to go on my phone. Let's go get into some reading. We've got 5.5 hours. Whew, let's go read. We're running. I will just say, Mhairi Macfarlane's writing is very funny. Like, I just find myself giggling a lot, just the way she words things. I don't know if it's the British thing or just she as a writer, because this is my first Mhairi Macfarlane book. This is so good. You know when an idea is reckless and stupid, but you know in your bones from the very first moment you have it, you're going to act on it? Any time spent debating is pointless. It's merely therapeutic. It won't stop you. Ugh, so good. So I think the romance is definitely kicking off. It is definitely weird from my experience. I haven't really seen a story in the romance genre that's played out like this. We kick off with a couple who are kind of falling apart, and it says it on the back here. When they have their weekend away, Rosen starts searching for clues to the truth about her life, their history, and the man she thought she loved. It's kind of in the premise we knew that we were walking into the unfolding of a relationship, and it would have been too hasty to have introduced another love interest so early when we were having the relationship falling apart. I think it was in very good taste to take our time to get to this point, but it's just different. Okay, so we have an hour and 45 to go. I finished. This book is excellent, and I can see why so many people, including Emily Henry on the front, has raved about this book and this author in general. Very glad that I picked her up. Oh, I have so many feelings about this book. Overall, this book is really interesting in the way it's written. I looked at Mhairi Macfarlane on Instagram. In her bio, it says in the screenwriter's room. So I think that maybe means that she is a screenwriter, which would track because the way that this is written is almost written like you're watching a movie in all the best ways. Gosh, there's just so many things that I loved about this book, and I really don't know how I'm going to rate it. I think it's at least a 4 4.5, but there is a little bit of a trigger warning. In the first part, we are following Rosen, who is with her partner Joe. Been together 10 years. Their kind of relationship's already kind of on the rocks when we start this book. And then once she goes into watching this TV show that he's just produced or helped write, she starts to just question everything about him because he's included things in this TV show that were very personal to her. She confronts him. He makes an excuse for it. And so she kind of got reconsidering their entire relationship. That's kind of what the second half of the book is, kind of deconstructing what that is. Also while unpacking a new romance, which is really fun. And it does a really fantastic job of putting you in the position of someone who is questioning whether the person that they are living with or someone who is very important in their life is a pathological liar. I'm not going to say whether he is or he isn't, but I think the fact that we are unweaving whether that is a fact, I'm definitely going to be picking up more of her books in the future, for sure. I've still got, like another hour and 45 to go on this reading challenge. I don't particularly want to sit down for the rest of the day. I kind of want to get out and get moving, move my body. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go put on an audiobook and just go for a nice long walk, which technically, I will be on my phone. But because I'm going to be walking, I genuinely won't be doing anything else other than listening to an audiobook. So I'm giving it to myself because, life.